Welcome to Stardust Stereo. I'm Parker McPhinney. I'm your host. Today is the 15th of May, year 2025. Today I'm going to talk about the moon in Capricorn. I'm going to speak on characteristics when you have the moon in Capricorn in your birth chart, but also indicate good things that we can pursue and build on while the moon is in the sign Capricorn. The moon changes signs every 2 days, and currently right now in the sky it's in Sagittarius. It will be making its last aspect at 11:26 a.m. That means the last time the moon applies to another planet in the sky. Well, the moon's not a planet, the moon's a star. Applies to a planet in the sky before it goes what we call void of course. When the moon makes its last aspect this morning, it will be to the planet Saturn. Saturn's currently in Pisces. The moon's in Sagittarius. It squares Saturn, and the prevailing energy force is slightly frustrated because there's so many choices. I'm not sure which one to pick, which thing to do next. It's sort of like being in a spider web. There's so many avenues, I'm not sure where to go, and so therefore it can be sometimes frustrating. Then, when the moon goes void of course, we're in the free zone. So this void of course period that happens quite frequently, actually, is when it's a great time to meditate, do tasks that are not super important to you. Allow yourself to contemplate your direction. It's not a good time to go grocery shopping because when the moon is void of course, especially for food, our undirected energy can go, oh, I like that. I'm going to have that. I don't really know what I want, so I'll just get all of this. And so often you can purchase things that you don't really need. Now, you may use them later, always a possibility. The void of course moon is really great for doing projects that are not finalized. If you're a creative artist, it's the wonderful zone to let your mind explore. Now, today, after that void of course moon period, after you've had your couple of minutes or almost an hour of meditation. Not everybody can just stop what they're doing and meditate, unless of course you make it a walking Buddhist kind of meditation where everything you do is a meditation, where you're just totally focused. So that total focus period can find a landing ground when the moon enters Capricorn. So even if you're an airplane hovering over the space that you wish to land, you can channel your focus to pinpoint, that's the path. So when the landing pad is clear, you are ready to go in action. And that's what I want to talk about today. The moon enters Capricorn at 12:57 p.m. It will stay in Capricorn for the next 2 days, specifically until the 17th of May at 10:29 p.m. During this period, today, tomorrow, and the 17th, you have at your fingertips the moon in a sign that loves to build. Capricorn is all about climbing the ladder, improving your status. It is about taking your opportunities and your situation serious. Capricorn has a dry wit. So when the moon is in Capricorn, you can lighten up the spirit of yourself and others by taking that dark humor, dry wit humor, slightly sarcastic point of view, just slightly, and get through the difficult period, especially in this next 2 days, because while the moon is in Capricorn right now, it will begin to do a series of squares to the planets that are in Aries. Capricorn is considered a cardinal sign. Aries is also a cardinal sign, which means action, want to move, got to get things going. Why they sort of do a little dance that's uncoordinated with each other is because Capricorn goes slowly. Aries wanted it done yesterday. So you can see with the moon ruling our mood, our stomach, the atmosphere, the moon's placement also deals with feelings, intuition, our needs, what we absolutely cannot do without, what's number one on the priority list. So while the moon is going through Capricorn, transiting the sign of Capricorn, and it comes up to square Neptune, if what we want is not available, it can cause internal frustration. So one of the ways that you work with this energy and with squares in general is that you give yourself a task that is difficult to do. You focus totally on that without the umbrella of perfectionism. As long as you tell yourself how this turns out will be okay, your mood will be okay. Consider it resistance training. So what you want to achieve is delayed, then you are training yourself in patience and how to deal with resistance, what way you will utilize that energy. The test that you may deal with in the next 2 days, which will vary from person to person, could be something as simple as, I can't find where I put it, because the moon will be squaring Neptune in this early afternoon, and it'll be, where did it go? The moon also can create a situation in which you are happy that a delay has happened. So squares are not always necessarily bad. Sometimes if you can't find where you mislaid something, those few minutes that postpone your departure can end up being a great gift. Especially when you realize if you had gotten on the freeway at that time, you would have been stuck there for an hour because traffic was backed up and you didn't know that. Because your GPS was not working for some reason, because the phone just updated the new program and you can't find anything on it. And lo and behold, it is not better. And would you just stop these updates? You know, that's the kind of energy that can go on. And I find myself actually saying that quite often, even if the stars are not in square to each other. So another thing that you can deal with the moon square Neptune, which will happen this early afternoon, that's Pacific Daylight Time. If you live elsewhere, you'll have to do the math, is dig deep in yourself because Capricorn moon is always about digging deep, using your experience. Very often people with moon in Capricorn appear to be old souls. They have in their DNA just knowledge, common sense, I think it's really called, of what to do in situations that are frustrating, are not going forward as planned. The brain thinks like an engineer. How can I solve this problem? So as the moon squares Neptune, attempt to use creative imagination in problem solving. If you're not having a situation where you have to solve a problem, just use it as a old technique utilized in a new way. Moon in Capricorn square Neptune is also an excellent combination for using your dry wit to be a comedian. Neptune, currently in the sky, is at the Sabian symbol of a comedian entertaining the group. So as always, I really try to pull on some humor when I myself am getting frustrated. Sometimes I forget that I have an option of looking at the situation in a humorous way. So we all can up our humor technique within our attitudes to help us deal with challenging times. Following its square to Neptune, it will then go forth and square Venus and Chiron in the next couple of days. That deals with female energy. So the moon will be squaring Venus, which often means what we wanted was not in our size. And so I am without. A little bit of brooding can happen. Then as the moon squares Chiron, the wounded healer, which will happen on the 17th, you want to be aware of how you use your sarcastic humor and also the demands that you put on your body. And look for ingenious, maverick ways to solve any issues that come up as you are trying to build a new canon, a new habit, anything that you are trying to build at this point by the 17th. If you really push yourself to find a new outlet, it will be immensely rewarding. If you're a gardener, this would be the time to plant your potatoes, carrots, radishes, garlics, beets, onion. Plant your root crops. Capricorn energy deals with dryness. So this would also be an excellent time to get a massage. It's always an excellent time to get a body massage. Most of all, remember that any tests that you are dealing with in these next days, you become stronger every time you get through them. And when you get through them with grace, then you feel even more confident to be able to handle the challenges that are thrown in everybody's pathway, because that's part of being on Earth. This is also the period in which you want to build, repair the dams. Any areas in your life that are leaking in energy, or literally are leaking, you want to seal them up. The last aspect the moon will make on the 17th is a sextile to the planet Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is currently at the last degree. These two planets, the moon and Saturn, waving at each other in a very friendly manner means that all disputes and arguments that may have started today, being the 15th, can end on a happy note. This moon in Capricorn will also trine Mercury, the Sun, and Uranus. That makes for finding the bridge that you can cross to give you a more beautiful view of not just your life, but life in general. Astrology is never about one single area, because analyzing the sky is taking into so many factors that contradict each other. That's why astrology is considered an art form. Even though we will be having testing times, we will also be having the grace to get through those testing times. And this is what makes the day more enjoyable. I would like to let you know that if you were a supporter of this podcast on patreon.com/ParkerMcP, you would get this podcast right when it's produced, and you'd get written material that I send out only to my supporters. Because it's a time-based podcast, it's really important, because astrology is time-based, that you get the podcast when they're released. So consider becoming a supporter at patreon.com/ParkerMcP. And if you are already currently a supporter of this podcast, I thank you. You know who you are, and you're getting this information on time. And I want to leave you with a closing thought with the moon in Capricorn energy. It's about practice, practice, practice. Whatever you focus on, you can reach a level of deep satisfaction and master it. It just takes effort and time. Moon in Capricorn says, be a worker. I'm Parker McPinney. This is Stardust Stereo. I'd like to thank you for listening. And I'd like to remind you, you are made of stardust. So go shine.